What is up, guys and gals? It's me, Thomas Fan1 here, and today we're back again with another action figure review. I almost said Transformer. Almost said Transformer that time. Almost said it. But today we're going to be taking a look at another action figure, and today we're going to be following up that review with Avatar Aang, and we are going to be following up with one of my personal favorite characters from the TV show. And honestly, this dude kind of steals the show at every turn. So, I mean, there's always a chance that Avatar could have just been about this guy for the entire show, but you never know. So, here we have Prince Zuko. We just have to zoom out a bit here. There we go. Lord Angryface, or Prince Angryface, or Prince Jerk, or whatever the heck you want to call him. Because that's what he was when he was dressed like this and had no hair and no honor and no none of that. For honor. But anyways, so this is Prince Zuko, otherwise known later in the show as Fire Lord Zuko, otherwise known as later in Legend of Korra, Fire or Lord Zuko, and I like this figure. However, this one has one major flaw. If I remove the stand, oh, are you kidding me? Now you want to stand? Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyways, he doesn't like to stand on his own. He's a very, very forward-heavy figure. Like, you can clearly see he's a very forward-heavy figure. But I will say this, he's very, very detailed. Like, honestly, like, here, okay, if I can get his ankle to stay properly. Look at that face sculpt. Just beautiful. Oh, it's like they took... I feel like these figures were just taken straight from the screen. Like, not in a bad way, but in a way where it's like, dang, man. Like, this is insane. Like, the level of detail that McFarlane Toys took into this. By the way, this is the McFarlane Toys version. The level of detail that they put into this specific figure. Like, look at the detail on this skirt right here, and even the detail on these pants. They got so detailed to the point where they added stitching to that. Stitching! Like, where else do you find this type of quality? So, yeah. Now, normally, like I would say, we typically do scale comparisons, and we actually have, thanks to our previous review, we have one. We have one previous review for Fire Lord Zuko to be scaled with. Here he is next to Avatar Aang with his loose hands. I will hunt you down. So, anyways, there he is next to him. And just for a scale comparison of a Transformer, we're going to use the same one we did last time with Aang. Here he is next to Legacy Tarantulas. So, yeah. Alright, so one last thing we got to get into before we continuously ride this off the rails and go into the whole thing here of this character. Typically, actually, before we do that, we're not even going to get into the accessories. We're going to talk about this character first. So, in the show, basically, he gets banished from the Fire Lord to hunt the Avatar forever, and he was scarred because of that. And the reason for that is because the scar... He wouldn't fight his father in an Agni Kai, so basically he wouldn't fight him in a duel, and so that was his punishment, was getting that scar. And when he was finished with the duel, he was basically banished from his nation to go and search for the Avatar until until he's found, and then he can come home with his full honors and everything of the nature for the nation. Only one problem, though. That's not what happens in the show. Also, for the time, the Avatar had been missing for 100 years. Aang had been missing for 100 years. So, he basically was sent on an impossible task, and only if he had fulfilled said impossible task, he could come home. I think that is the most harshest judgment a parent can ever pass down to their child. So, anywho, now let's get into the accessories. Now, one of the accessories, we actually don't see this happen until much later in the show, we don't actually see this happen until, I think season 2? But you have these two flame daggers here, and what you're supposed to do with these is you're supposed to take them, and you're supposed to shove them in the backs of his hands here. So that way, he then has his fire dagger coming out of one of his hands here. Obviously, it's not pushed in far enough, and doesn't look perfect, but that's the gist of it. And you can do it on both hands because he comes with two. And by the way, that scene where these come up, he doesn't even face Aang with these. He's facing his sister. So, but anyways, there he is with his fire daggers. I apologize if we're going out of frame here, and his ankle here is really, really loose, at least on my copy. I don't know about anybody else's copy of the toy, but that's really loose. In terms of articulation on this dude here, aside from the fact that he has an ankle that's really loose and does not like to support the weight of the figure, has over 90 degrees of bend at the knee, so we're talking like over 180 here. Double jointed knees there, so we got that. He can only move out that far due to the rubber waist pieces here. He can only move that far in his legs due to, once again, these waistcoat pieces. The arms can only go out about that far, down about that far, up that far, that far, and they do have a double jointed elbow, so he does get more than 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. Yeah. So next accessory we're going to take a look at here, before we get into the final before we get into the final judgment of said figure here, and I got to make sure that the feet look just nice and sturdy, is he comes with an actual fire blast, which I think is kind of cool. And you can fit this on either one of the hands, but for me personally, I like to get him into his actual firebending, in an actual firebending pose, and this is an actual pose that you do see them get into in the movie, or not the movie, in the show. And like I said, I thought no better time to review these two figures than with the announcement of Netflix's live-action Avatar show coming out, with it looking very, very accurate. So basically, what to do this is there is a little loop piece here, and you're going to basically fit his hand inside there, and then you're going to twist the fire piece around his hand, and you're going to need to shove that hand just barely in there, just lightly like so. And if we can just get everything straightened up properly, there we go. Here is Prince Zuko with his fire blast accessory attached. So, but yeah, on a final note for this figure, I mean, like I said, I don't really typically judge these types of figures, but if I had to judge it based on an animation to toy scale accuracy, this thing gets a definite 7.4. And why does this one rank higher than Aang, you may ask? Well, Aang has a few problems. Not a ton, but he's got a few. In the fact that, you know, his is specifically one portion of him. Like, it's only one specific thing. He's in the Avatar state. Zuko is always like this in the show, at least in the first season. So, I mean, you could set this scene up for multiple different scenes. You could set it up for multiple different things. So, and not to mention his posability is not bad, but not great. So, I mean, that's where he gets a couple demerits. But at the same time, I'm waiting for Uncle Iroh to just appear right here and just say, "Are you too busy for tea?" You know, stuff like that. But anyways, this is Thomas Fountain One saying, don't forget to check out Planet Toys, a world built by collectors, where if you use code NOEL23, you can get 20% off your entire Christmas purchase this holiday season, and this promotion only lasts up until December 24th. So if you want to get all your Christmas gifts in, get them in now, and I will leave a link to that code and to the website down below. So you also don't forget to check out Optination reviews, Beastman reviews, Jordy's Rail videos, Riveted reviews, Bravely GG, iStar552, Patrick with a Y, and Take Along Productions. And I know they all do some amazing work, and they're all amazing toy collectors, and they all love, you know, they love them toys. So, anywho, this is Thomas Fountain One saying, don't forget to keep playing with your toys.